morning, everyone. Rob here from the homestead. Today I'm going to do some tractor work. I've got my John Deere 3046. We're going to change the forks out for my grapple and do a little work around the edge of the woods. And then I'm going to drop the grapple and put the plow on and move some of this wet, heavy snow that we've been getting. So hang on for the ride and let's see what we can get done. Straighten that out. tried to get that up high enough so you could see what's going on, but I can't get any leverage on it. I gotta lower it down. There, hydraulics are a funny thing. You got one side that goes good and the other side that doesn't. You got to play around with it and release the pressure off it. Probably if I had a little bit more strength in my right arm now, I could muscle it right along, but not today. See all this junk laying around in here. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to move it or not. Let's see. Not sure where I want to put it. I paused here for a moment. I've got this long dead one that goes up through the brush here, and I am gonna hook the skidder winch up to it and yank it out of there. Sorry, I didn't bring the tripod down, so I'm kind of holding this freehand here. And it's kind of snowy in here, but if you look down in here, that holds it so you can't take it out. When it's like that, it's dogged up and it can't free spool. You pull it out like that and you can pull it out. I don't need to pull it out much, just to about there. Throw a chain on that. And I apologize, it's kind of shaky here because I wasn't really prepared to get out of the tractor today, but I thought this would be the easiest way to do it. All right, I'm going to turn you off and hook this up, and then I'll turn it back on once I start pulling. All right, so I'm all hooked up. I don't know how this is going to pull out of there. I'm just going to get it started right now. And to run this, there's this rope and it pulls the clutch, so it pulls it up. So let me get a grip on here. Let's see what we got. Yeah, I'm gonna pull out a little bit so I don't flip anything on top of me. And once I pull out, I'll hook you back up again. So right now, I'm hooked up to the tree back there. And I'm free spooling, so I'm gonna just pull forward here and get out away from the trees, so if that dead thing pulls anything down, it won't pulling it on top of me. And so it won't be far. You can see it's free spooling out behind me. And that's probably good. And we'll get out. It's slippery to pull out. This wet snow, where it's packed down, is very slick. So I'm gonna grab my rope again, and got to turn the PTO on. Go around to the other side. When you're running a PTO winch, it helps if it's on. All right, and let's pull it out. So that's what we got there. Let's see if there's anything else we can pull out of there while we're right here. I can pick that up with the grapple. That one probably right there could come out. Let's see if I can grab it. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll just run the cable up and we'll grab that. Then there's another one underneath there we might be able to grab and get all three of these and clean this up pretty good. There's a lot in here I'm going to pull out, and I just want this area cleaned up a little bit. And I thought, not doing anything else today, I may as well get this done. It's kind of a wet, snowy, crappy day, so you don't want to be really felling anything in the woods on days like this. You end up covered in snow, and so I'm gonna unhook this. I know I've mentioned this in previous videos. I don't know if they made the cut or not. but when you're unhooking chains, it's best to keep your mouth closed. Old logger friend of mine said it's always better to get a fat lip than a broken tooth, because you get yanking on it and that chain pops up and it will break a tooth. Carry that in my camera hand. Sorry for the commotion here. There's barbed wire and everything else here. All right, I'm gonna hook onto this, and I'll turn you back on when I start to pull it. All right, so we're all hooked up there. It's not really a straight run, so I'm not sure. We might get some casualties of a small tree getting pulled down, maybe. Like that one. There's one more. I bet we can get another one up out of there. I'm gonna shut you off and I'll go up and hook one more on and yank her on. All right, I got that last tree hooked up in there, and we'll grab a hold of the rope and see if we can pull her on out. You see that old dead thing? I'm gonna have to cut that. I don't think I'm gonna deal with it today. Might have to get some throttle for this one a little bit. Doesn't usually take much. This thing's pretty rugged. She really pulls. I think the hardest part for it is pulling through that fence. There's a old fence line there with a bunch of wire, and that's probably what gives it the most grief. So we'll walk up in here and see if there's anything else that's handy. I might just yank onto that from a distance and see if I can pull it down. It's kind of in the way right there. You start cutting on stuff like that and you never know which way it's going to go, so sometimes if you can, it's just best to pull them down. Yeah, there's a couple more in here we can pull out, but I think what I'll do is get rid of that, maybe hook onto that down below. I'll just stretch some cable and we'll get rid of that dead thing if we can. We'll see if the tractor will pull it over. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. You know, it's been woodpeckered up pretty good, so I imagine it's gonna pull down. All right. Once again, I'm going to shut you off and hook this stuff up and we'll pull it down the hill. All right, so we're all hooked up there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to dog that up. Trying to pull it tight there. We got a long one that's pushing on the blade there, so I'm just going to keep it like that. We're only going to drag it down to the brush pile here and then I'll push it up with a grapple. So, you know, that pulling those 3 trees may have taken me 10 minutes at the most. A lot easier than going in and fussing around with the chainsaw and trying to get it knocked down so I can grab it with the grapple. So, there we go. All right, I'm all hooked up to that dead tree. I'm gonna spin you around and we'll pull on it and see where it goes. Oh, nice. All right. Yeah, I'll just go up and hook onto this end and we'll pull it back down to the brush pile with that small fir tree. And that'll be quite an accomplishment. And then there's some ones further back in the woods that I'll pull out. So I'll turn you back on when it gets exciting again. That fir tree didn't come. I'm gonna have to do something else with that. Good for there. I'm just gonna pull it down the hill. Let's see what we can do here. Yeah, I thought that might be the case. I just pulled the top right off of that fir tree. I'm gonna grab it up here at the root. I thought it was detached enough that it'd just yank out, but evidently not. So we'll just hook the chain on right up here. Doing this one-handed. Never know. Trees on a fence line. Or... We'll give it a yank and see if she comes. There she goes. You see this chasing me down here. That's not good. I'm going to pull forward. And we'll keep that from happening. I'm going to put you back up here. I think I've had enough of doing one-handed work for the day. You get the idea of what I'm doing back there. So one thing that I will stress before I shut you guys down is having that skidder winch is kind of a safety thing on top of a convenience thing. It really gets you away from stuff that could be hazardous. I don't know if you watched my first logging video, but the tree I cut down hung up, and instead of trying to mess around with it and cut other trees to get it down, I just took that winch up onto it and pulled it right out. So it's, you know, for those of us that don't have regular skidders, it's an investment worthwhile. So I'm going to shut you off for a minute. All right, guys, I think I'm just about wrapped up here. I know it doesn't look like much, but I got an enormous amount of stuff out of here that was kind of in the way. The stuff that's further back in I'll get as I cut my way in here. There's a lot of spruce and fir that's got to come out. and I'll be digging into that here in the not so distant future. But I wanted to get all that stuff that was on the ground out of the way, and make it a little bit more easy to go in there and do what I need to do. As you saw, the Fransguard skidder winch on the back of the tractor is just an enormous help. It really takes a job that's daunting and turns it into something that's a little bit more fun anyways. The grapple, of course, is just an essential part of owning a tractor. I think if you don't have a grapple and a fork, it's probably something that you should look into investing in just around the house. I use it far more than I use the bucket. So it's getting kind of rainy. The snow has turned to rain this afternoon, and lunch is calling my name right now. So like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the not so distant future. Thanks.